Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Conversations with Cal, the show that initiates engaging conversations. I'm your host, Cornell Calhoun III, and I'm thrilled and honored to have as my guest the legendary Glenville High School basketball coach, Mr. Michael Holt. Coach Holt, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Let's start a conversation.
Okay, let's go.
Legendary career, man. And I was there when you first started. 356 wins. 35 years teaching in the district, 24 as a coach, 20 appearances in the title game, 7 district appearances, 3 regional appearances. Did you have any idea when you started back there in 2001 we would come here, we would be here today?
No. And you know, you were with me when I first got the job. My first goal was to convince the neighborhood and the community that I'm capable of carrying Coach J's torch. That was my first priority. I wasn't thinking about winning. That would be a win for me, a major win. And I refused. I knew whoever was going to get that job, no one was going to like him because of Jimmy's history.
Right. Coach
you know,
J, yeah.
But I just thought about it. I thought about it. And I never knew I would be here, but I'm grateful. But
you are here.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that incredible journey from the beginning, because I sat on the bench with you, man. We had some times.
I'm gonna say something that nobody knows, and I told you that. When I was a PE teacher, I'm gonna go way back. This is like in the 80s. I was at Margaret, Ireland, and I was smelling myself. I was new. And at that time, he was Reverend Houghton, Bishop Houghton,
right,
was a deputy superintendent.
Okay.
So he came in Margaret Island with his team of administrators, because he would always visit schools. And he peeked in at me. I was in the gym. I kind of waved at him and went on about my business, teaching. He came back that afternoon, and I had a planning period. He peeked in. I could feel him looking at me. So I got up and I walked over. They called me. He said, tomorrow you're going to transfer. This is the conversation he told me. Tomorrow you're going to report to Empire at 7:15. I'm going to put you with a very good PE teacher named Jackie Bell. And you better listen to everything she says. This was way back. He said, what time are you going to be at my building tomorrow? I said 7. He said, that's what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to hear you say 7:15, always be 15, 20 minutes early. From that moment, my career took off. From that moment, I met, I'm good friends with Mike Banks. He was coaching at Lincoln West. He went to Padua. And then Jimmy passed.
He did went to Padua, right.
I went to Lincoln West. No, Jimmy hadn't passed yet. I went to Lincoln West. And I beat Glenville. I beat the JV team. But I can remember Jimmy, I took his, for your feet, for the tennis shoes. I thought it was mine.
The mat, yeah.
So after the game, I got one end of it, he got the other end. And he's like this. It's mine. It's mine. I said, no, it's mine, dude.
I remember, okay.
I was wrong. I was wrong. And I told him I was wrong. And he just gave me a hug, but the rest was history.
What inspired you to start coaching? I know, because you graduated from Benedictine, right? Mm-hmm. And then you went on to Ohio University, the Bobcats.
I always wanted to coach. The reason, and I'm jumping around, the reason I became a PE teacher, my first year at Benedictine, I was 13 years old. I walked in a PE teacher's gym. A legendary coach, his name was Coach Augie Basu.
Right.
My man. I admired him. I adored him. He was everything He was everything what a coach should be.
He was revered. He was coaching when I played at Tech.
Wow. He was 95 years old when I was a freshman in the gym. And I watched him, and I said, that's what I want to do. So, there we are.
What does it mean to have coached at Glenville High School? Because, you know, Glenville is legendary. I mean, and to follow in the footsteps of Coach J, because Coach J was legendary. When Coach J passed, it changed my life.
Changed everybody's life. Changed everybody's life.
But to coach at Glenville High School, what does that mean to you?
I can't even explain how proud I am of myself and the family and my kids and the community. There's not a street in Glenville that I haven't been on. There's not one street I haven't been on growing up in Glenville. Not one street. Every street I've been everywhere. But for me to be able to walk to school in an inner city school, knocking on doors, getting kids in school, I don't have to wait for them. I can knock on the door. Hey, man, pull them out from under the bed. Come on, stop hiding. Come on to school with me. Right through door F.
What were the biggest challenges in that position, Coach, for you?
Gaining the community's trust. You know, we know you live there. We know you're from there, but there's other things that you have to accomplish in order to be successful. And the number one thing is being a change agent for kids. You know, everybody says it's all about the kids, but everybody's not like that.
How would you describe your coaching style? Because everybody has the coaching style. You know, like me, I never sat. The only time I was sitting down on the bench, I was either up by 20 or down by 20. I mean, you know, what's your philosophy about that? And you know, me, I was primarily a defensive coach. What about you?
I'm more of a I'm not a dictator coach. I'm a player's coach. So I may at the high school level, I may call a timeout and ask my point guard what's going on. And I did that one time, and the guard, he I don't know who it was. He said, "Wait a minute, what's going on? What's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, man, you out here playing, and you can't tell me what's going on without acting like this." So I like to find out from the kids first what's going on. I give them a little bit of leeway, but I'm also tedious about time and the way you practice. The way you practice, you have to get 1% better every day. But I'm big on practice. And you know that. We practice, you know, we've had some intense practices.
So in terms of preparing teams to play games, you know, Glenville is a legendary program, so there's a lot of pressure, not only on the coach, but on the kids to be successful. How do you prepare kids to deal with that kind of pressure?
They have to trust you. They have to trust you. They have to trust the process. They're gonna make mistakes. My main concern, along with any coach at Glenville or any inner city school, I don't worry, but I miss the kids when I'm not around them because they're out and about by themselves. And that might sound a little strange, but it's tough out here. It's tough to be a kid because it's not cool to be smart.
Right.
You know, and you can't get caught up as a student athlete with people saying, "Well, I bet you don't score 40 points." Now you working for this guy in the street instead of trying to win the game, and that goes on. That goes on.
What qualities do you look for in a player beyond just the skill set?
Honesty and integrity. You have to be completely transparent with me because I'm like that. You have to be honest, and you have to work hard, and you have to care about people. People are important. But we just work with kids, you know? It's a calling. Everybody can't do what we do, you know? now that I haven't sat back and reflected on everything, but listening to people, and I'm a humble guy, but listening to people talk about a heck of a run, cause a heck of a run, and it's in bits and pieces. I sit back and I reflect, and man, we accomplished a lot in that program. We did.
How important is the Glenville community to the Glenville basketball program?
It's everything. That Glenville, if Glenville High School was not in the Glenville community, it would be a problem. Because that's one of the last promising, I don't know the word to put, where success is for kids. But it's also a place where violence is too. So kids have to have a balance, how to be clever enough to be cool enough and fit in and still be able to do what they do and not get talked about because they're not committing crimes, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
A lot of our kids are scared to be successful. They get right to the water of success, they get to the pool, and all they have to do is jump in, Cal. And the fear of being successful. They have to learn how to, I don't want to say they, our kids have to learn how to embrace accomplishments, but they have to get an accomplishment first.
Yeah.
But the community, if Glenville wasn't there, I've been all over the country, and it's not a time, I've been on cruises, it's not a time that somebody sees a Glenville t-shirt and they say, and I say, yeah, well, we got this other sport called football. Remember Ohio State's coach used to say that? Yeah, we got a good team, but we got this other sport called football.
Talk about, for a minute, your relationship with legendary basketball coach, Rolly Massimino, Villanova University. And he was here at Cleveland State for a number of years, and you and I both had the opportunity to work with him.
If not for you, I wouldn't have never met him. We went to, where did we go? We went to that big camp. We were the only high school coaches at that camp.
Vermilion, yeah, in Vermilion, for a retreat.
It was some heavy hitters in there, man. Virginia's coach, Massimino, I want to say
I think Pete Gillen.
Pete Gillen
was there.
And to be able to sit back and watch those guys, it was amazing. It was amazing.
I remember the other great aspect of that. Remember how they would talk about plays and design them on the blackboard, and then we would actually go outside and go through the plays, you know, and you was eating up all the food. two high school guys
eating up all the food, drinking all that expensive Italian. Coach man said, "Hey man, you know, ate all the cutting it." Is that what that was? I thought it was chicken.
Oh man. Let's tackle a tough subject, Coach. Okay. 2021, you faced probably your toughest opponent. Talk a little bit about that, the diagnosis, because I was there with you, if you can.
I wasn't feeling well for a while. I didn't know what it was. And I was just running, burning both ends of the candle. But I was always weak and just, I didn't feel right. And I didn't have an appetite. So we're in practice one night, and Mariah happened to be there to run the clock. And we had just finished up practice, and
Mariah is your daughter.
My daughter,
who played for Glenville, played for me.
Yeah.
Then went on to actually coach at Glenville. Had a successful career at Kentucky State.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I just wanted to make sure we knew who Mariah Holt was.
But I can remember just months and months going by, and I didn't know what was wrong. I just wrote it off. But after that practice. I had the guys on the baseline, and I was talking to him, and I just collapsed. I fainted. I remember calling Mariah's name out as I fell, and she ran over. The boys, they was helping me out, and they called EMS, and I went to the hospital. And my platelets were low, and that's basically when I found out I had leukemia. But man, I worship a great God. I was in the hospital for a year and 2 months during COVID. No visitors, no mail, 24-hour bags of chemo for a year. And God put me through. I'm not a miracle. The Lord took care of me.
Yeah, I remember going to your house. Yeah, you can't come in here without a mask on. Yeah, that's extraordinary. And now, how are you now? How's the health now?
I'm fine. I have my moments, but it's more mental.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, you're so grateful, and then other times it's, you know, wow, why me?
There was such an outpouring of support from the community, too.
Oh, my goodness. Everywhere I go, everywhere I went, it was just so much love. It was overwhelming. It was.
Yeah.
It's still overwhelming.
Is there a particular, you may not want to answer this, but is there a particular team or a highlight of a game that you really go back to over and over again, over again? I mean, there are a couple of for me, but is there a game? What game?
I'm gonna go right to it. I got a text from he texts Matt Gould from Jim Jones.
Okay.
He goes, "Tell Coach Holt congratulations. He had one hell of a squad." When you beat somebody, remember they had the triplets.
Oh yeah, he did.
They were undefeated, and we were undefeated, and they just knew we had to go to Orange, and it was sold out. And they were so arrogant, man. They just knew we were gonna come in there undisciplined, but they didn't realize I had Wu Griffin, Troy Smith, Dante Whitner, you know. Once they got a taste of them guys, man, they knew they were in for a dog fight. But that was one of the best ones.
That was one of them. Is there something in your long, legendary career that if you could go back, you would change? Or are you pretty much comfortable with everything that you've accomplished and that you've done?
I wouldn't change anything other than it would be great to have Jimmy here.
Oh man, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my life would be a lot different.
There's not one thing, but the most proudest moment that I'm having is like these moments now, when I can honestly say I carried that torch, and I carried it well.
Very well.
I carried that torch in honor of Jimmy. He beat you by 50, then take you in there and feed you corned beef and cabbage. Talking about he cooked it, and his mom, he ain't cooked that.
But Jimmy could cook though. Jimmy could cook.
Remember he had water hose.
The greatest thing I remember about Jimmy is, you know, Jimmy was a Stillman when I was playing for Talladega. Oh. Jimmy played for Stillman, but Jimmy really was a baseball player. Yeah. But he was on the basketball team, and I had the book. I took my college scorebook when I left for that year, and I showed the book to his wife, LaDonna Winston Johnson.
His name was in the book.
Yeah, I had scored 20, and Jimmy didn't play.
Coaching at Glenville.
Coach, what advice would you give a young person who was interested in coaching today?
Try to learn as much as you can from the older coaches and the younger coaches, but there's a difference in philosophies. But the one philosophy is that stays the same is that the young people, they come first. If you keep them first, you won't go wrong. You won't go wrong, even if you make a mistake. Because a kid will figure out an adult or a teacher way before you figure them out. They sense honesty, even my players, you know. Some I kick in the butt, others I gotta sit down. Others, when they start foaming at the mouth and going crazy, go take a break and wipe that off your mouth. So.
You received an award from the Greater Cleveland Coaches Association. Talk about that. That was special.
Yeah. For 24 years, I watched great coaches go get that award.
Was the Golden Deed Award?
Golden Deeds Award. I watched, Krasinski, just legendary coaches. Vanna.
Yeah, Coach Vanna from Collinwood. Yeah.
Vanna, I think Jimmy won it too. To be able to reminisce and see all those great coaches take that walk to get it. My legs were a little bit shaky walking up there to get it. But
and your mother was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old is she now?
97, and she's still fussing. You ain't get my phone on. Bring me a barbecue dinner. I can't bring all that in the nursing home. No, she's fine. She's fine.
And a couple years, I took you on another journey in the film industry. You were in the film A Raging Silence. Talk about that. That's an award-winning film, Coach.
Is it? I didn't know what I was doing. I had fun. I went to my son plays for All Ohio Cleveland.
Mikey.
Yeah, I went to the practice, and Kendall is the program director.
Right.
So it was some mothers in the stands, and they said, "Don't talk to Coach, he a op." I'm like, "What is you talking about? You a op?" I said, "What do you mean a op?" "Oh yeah, you work for the DEA or somebody." I'm like, "What is you talking about?" She said, "That wasn't you in the movie?" I said, "Where did you see that?" So they was calling me a op. Remember after the last, what would you call it, the take after it was a wrap?
Right.
I left.
Right.
And I had the detective the homicide detective. Yeah, right. And I'm driving down St. Clair and I go, "Hey!" I'm about to turn down my street. Boy, if I'd have got out the car and they seen that.
I got a clip of that film I'm gonna show the audience.
Okay.
Here's a clip of Coach Michael Holt making his debut as an actor in the award-winning film A Raging Silence. Let's take a look.
Commander, we need to move on Central Avenue ASAP.
King Lloyd Jones calls himself Young Plato. He's deep in the system and he's a rising star in the organization.
Young Plato think he's plush. He's an arrogant bastard.
We can't. Not now.
Why not, sir?
Third district's out of control. It's out of control.
I know. GPOs, gentlemen.
I understand GPO, but...
GPO. General Police Order. The Cleveland Division of Police will follow procedures. We don't have a choice. We have to do things right. Especially with the Department of Justice consent decree hanging over our head. The DOJ have their watchdogs out. And you two had better get in line. Young Plato and his crew is one target. We're trying to get them all. This is about more than just Central Avenue. You have to look beyond. They're bigger fish to fry.
It's frustrating, sir.
Drug cartels, choice of pleasure,
is putting guns in kids' hands out there.
We will bring COP down. I promise.
Just give me a reason. Any reason at all. All young play on this.
I'll say this again, gentlemen. GPO, DOJ, consent decree. Is that clear?
I'm Cornell Calhoun III, host of Conversations with Cal. Join me as I sit down with fascinating people from all walks of life to dive deep into their stories, passions, and the unique perspectives that they bring. Whether it's political figures, community activists, business owners, or musicians, we explore it all. Real conversations with real people. So grab a seat, get comfy, and join us on this journey of discovery and connection. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss an episode of Conversations with Cal. Yeah, you did a great job, man. I'm gonna put you in the next film. But hey, talk about your son for a minute, because he's a phenomenal basketball player.
He's good. It was all planned that he was going to go to Gilmore. I just wanted to hang around and maybe play against him.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be retired, and he had a great opportunity, you know, and he's taking advantage of it. He's the only kid at the banquet. He's the only kid in the last 6 years that played JV, played freshman, JV, and varsity in the same year. He was on the freshman team. He played about 3 games. I knew that wasn't gonna last long.
Right.
Then they moved him up to JV, and it was a little bit more difficult. But maybe 8 games in the JV, they put him on varsity. They put him in a tournament game. He knocked down some tray balls, and he never looked back.
Wow.
So
this coming year, he'll be a sophomore?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's getting bigger. He's working harder. He's a good kid, and he's out the way. I don't have to worry about, you know, there's other concerns, but he'll be okay.
What's next for Coach Michael Holt?
I don't know. Every Wednesday they have because Mikey works out they have stuff there every day. Mm-hmm. But like now, they got special needs kids. They have a basketball camp for special needs kids, like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And I always go and look at them, and the coach said, "It's calling you, coach. Come on, make a little change and help some kids." And that's been on my mind, but I'm not gonna do it immediately. You know, I'm gonna rest a little bit, but I'm gonna stay busy. It'll be something with kids and my granddaughter. So maybe I'll come videographer for TV 20. Cut, it's a wrap.
Hey man, thanks for being on the show.
I love you, man.
I love you. Thanks for being on the show.
For sure.
It's been a blast, as we knew it would be. Mm-hmm. And thanks to all of you for watching. So that's it, Cleveland. The end is here. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV 20, We Are Cleveland, and Conversations with Cal. And remember, if you don't like what's being said, change the conversation.